Hi, I'm Sky Crystal. I'm culturally confused and creatively liberated, and today this is the first episode of Creating Space, and I'm really excited about that, but also really nervous because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with this series, apart from the fact that eventually I'd like to interview other people in regards to their mental health and creativity. But yeah, so first I'm going to talk about myself in regards to my mental health. There's a blog post to go alongside it on my website, which I will link in the description box below if you wanted to have a little read of that. I'm also working on the next blog post for Creating Space, which is my experience with mental health, so it will give you a better, well-rounded view of what happened to me in essence, or what's been happening with me. My mental health has been up and down over the past few years, and I suffered from psychosis, first episode psychosis, as well as trauma-induced psychosis, and I suffer from complex PTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I struggle to talk about these things because I'm still going through it in essence, but I wanted to basically talk about it because I think that there is a massive stigma in regards to mental health, especially psychosis, and not many people know what it is, and not many people understand what psychosis is, which is understandable because it's different for each individual that experiences it. For me personally, it was one of the most scariest times of my life, and it took over for about 2 years, and I'm in recovery now. However, I am still on medication, and I spent 6 months in a psychiatric ward because of my mental health condition. I want to talk about it because it's an important aspect of my being. It affected me quite deeply, and it still affects me quite deeply to this day. There's certain things that have played out because of psychosis that have been affecting me really badly over the past few months/years. It's affected my work. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to work for myself, because working for other companies and people, it has been really difficult for me to fulfill the needs and requirements that need to be met for working for somebody else. So I wanted to create my own business a few years ago, which I did do. There's a link in the description box below to my website for Wolf and Swallow. Creating Space is a safe space for me to talk about my mental health and basically focus on getting better, focus on wellness and well-being, and focus on the creative side of things and how I use creativity to creatively live my life and adjust accordingly with living with psychosis, because it still affects me to this day, and I want to be open and honest as much as I can in regards to what happened to me. There's some things that I won't be talking about because it is unnecessary in essence, because it affects people differently. There's certain things that is not really relevant, so I want to talk about the relevant things that have occurred and what I did in order to ultimately change my perspective on those certain things, and how I did that using creativity. I really hope this video makes sense. I'm really nervous about it, I'm sorry. But yeah, I wanted to create a safe space to talk about mental health, and in the future interview more people about it as well in their natural habitats of creativity and creative living. And yeah, basically today I wanted to talk about my mental health, how I'm feeling overwhelmed by the sheer amount of things that I'm trying to do. This happens on a daily basis where I feel overwhelmed. I have anxiety that is through the roof sometimes, which kind of stops me from being able to function properly, which stems back from complex PTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I am doing everything that I possibly can to alleviate some of the pressure. Sometimes I have, as I said, bad days, and today I would class it as a good day with bad elements to it. Just generally how I'm feeling right now, which is really anxious, and that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it in regards to creating an understanding between my subscribers and myself, that sometimes it's going to be difficult for me to be creative when I'm feeling sad or depressed or anything, and I'm sure everybody can relate to that. But I wanted to create this space where it's okay to talk about it and where I can discuss it in a healthy way and look at it from a different perspective. Respectively, flip my perspective in a way that I'm doing something creative. So for example, instead of feeling like shit, I wanted to make a video about it and tell you and be honest about it and tell you what I'm going through and how it affects me on a daily basis and various different things. And I was thinking of creating vlogs about it, living with psychosis, because it is a really bizarre thing to live with. But basically, when I first was diagnosed with psychosis, at the time I didn't know what was going on. I have memory loss issues, and I went into a catatonic state briefly for a little while, and I don't really have much memory from that time of my life. When I went into a psychiatric hospital, I also don't have much memory from that, apart from a few traumatic experiences that happened after I was raped during psychosis. I was raped during psychosis, and that affected me a lot. And I'm still trying to process those emotions. I am not talking about this for any other reason apart from to create awareness and create an understanding between my subscribers and myself. And every single person that you meet has an incredibly intricate life, and this is mine, and I wanted to talk about it again to spread awareness about it. There's a few different things that I have done, like a few different positive things in my life that are going on that I need to flip my perspective on. So for example, yoga teacher training. I've always wanted to become a yoga teacher, not necessarily to teach yoga, but to share, to teach myself yoga, and it's for my own personal well-being. I'd like to become a yoga teacher so I can be more well-informed about it, and if anybody were to ask me a question, I would be able to answer it as well as I can, because I've been doing yoga on and off for around 7 years now, possibly longer. I think it's been longer now, and I've had many breaks due to my mental health and physical health. So now I'm getting back into it and wanting to practice regularly. I'm going to start a yoga teacher training vlog as well to go alongside my yoga teacher training. And I have an Instagram where I'll be posting my daily yoga practice, and I'll post that down in the description box below if you wanted to follow along that journey as well. But yeah, basically yoga, the reason I've been feeling overwhelmed is because I have a lot on my plate because I put it there. And that's not to say I'm not grateful for it. I'm so grateful for it, but it's just how do I tackle these tasks in the best way and not affect my mental health in a negative way, and to avoid trigger response systems within my mind, to avoid those triggers being set off and avoiding the tasks and things like that, which is what I do. So I thought I would bring you guys along with me, because with editing and everything like that, you don't really see everything. You don't see what I go through on a daily basis, and for me personally, in the past, I've watched how I've learned to heal myself in multiple different ways, and healing isn't linear. Consistent contribution to healing every day, if that makes sense. You need to consistently contribute to your healing journey every single day, and I'm trying to do that the best way that I know how, and everything's a learning curve, so I feel a little bit better talking about it like this and just kind of speaking openly about it, because I've been avoiding talking about my mental health because of how stressful it is, basically, and I would really like to be able to not be in that position where I'm feeling like, oh, I don't want to talk about it because I feel stressed about it, and I'd rather just be able to go, this is my mental health, this is the situation, how do I handle this? And creative things such as making videos and working with plants and working on my business and working with yoga teacher training these are all benefits in my life, and these are all going to benefit me in the long term. It's just starting again. I wasn't expecting to do yoga teacher training at home. What my original intention was to go and do a fully fully submerse myself in a 28-day for 200-hour yoga teacher training, and I wanted to do it at a specific school in a specific place. But then I had this opportunity where I could do it from home come up for a much, I'll be honest, a much cheaper price, and the opportunity was to be able to do it at home, which is definitely a wonderful experience to be had. However, there are elements that cause difficulty with it. So for me, I feel like I've got learning difficulties from psychosis and memory loss issues, which makes me feel really paranoid about not knowing enough and not remembering enough. I'm struggling to recall memories and memorizing things, so I'm trying really hard to focus on what I can do and what I can do in order to build my confidence back up. That's what I'm planning on doing with creating space, and also creating a template for myself to follow every single day to get myself into, basically just to be my best self. And I wanted to bring you guys along with me so you guys can see what it's like living with psychosis, and I'm sure there's other people out there who also live with psychosis. So if you find this, hey, I feel you. And I've watched many videos online about people's mental health because of how it affected me and before psychosis, in regards to depression, complex PTSD and various other different things like that. And watching other videos has been really helpful for me to understand that I'm not the only one, and I'm also doing really well considering the circumstances that I've been given. And I wanted to just say to anybody who has been going through anything to do with mental health issues, not issues, but mental health situations, that you can get through this too, even though it can be difficult, but you just need to keep going. And that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep going too. And even after just kind of saying all of these words and starting with creating space in this video, I feel a little bit better for it and more open to discussing what has been going on. So I thought that this would be a good place to start. What my intentions are with this series is to create videos discussing how I'm feeling and discussing what I'm doing in order to change how I feel about certain situations. I might be repeating myself, but so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be talking about working with plants, working with art, working with people and various other different things like that. And this will also kind of tie in with what I'm doing with one of my friends. We are starting a podcast called Happyology, and we are going to be talking about mental health and various other different aspects of mental health within that podcast as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and there's some work that I need to do for that as well. So it's just kind of working out exactly what I'm doing and how I'm going to do it. And the reason I want to bring you guys along with me is because it will be helpful to kind of see the transition from right now and see the comparison in a year's time, for example. But yeah, so creating space, this is the first episode, and I hope some of it makes sense. I haven't spoken about a lot about my mental health because there's a blog post to go along with it. So feel free to give that a read if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about what I've been going through. Because right now I don't really feel ready to talk about it as much as I have done. So I think for now I've said enough. Thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video of Creating Space. So yeah, in the next video I'll talk more about my experience within mental health, and then the video after that will be what I do to manage my mental health, and then from there on I'll see what else I can create from this series. Today I'm going to be filming a vlog, basically showing you what I'm doing today. I've got a few different tasks to do, including some yoga teacher training notes, to practice yoga, as well as write a blog post and basically sort out a few different things around the flat. So tidy up and do some bits like that. So I thought I would bring you guys along with me and talk about my mental health as well. I'm gonna try and do a daily vlog kind of thing, talking about my mental health and everything like that. I'm in recovery of psychosis. It still affects me on a daily basis. There's a blog post that explains my mental health, and I'll put it in the description box below. So if you are interested in getting more of a background knowledge of what I've been through, you can read that. Yeah, so basically, the first thing I need to do today is, well, I don't know. I feel a little bit, I'm still feeling overwhelmed. I want to tidy up. It's not that messy, but I'm going to tidy up because I've got some plants down here that aren't looking great. I'm going to sort them out and tidy up the space and then practice some yoga. Yeah, let's just start there. These are some of the plants that I've neglected and due to my mental health, and some of them have been attacked by Luna, and I would like to save them because this is one of my favourite plants. So I'm going to repot this one and take some cuttings from it and then also clean it up. This one I'm just going to throw away. I need to put these away into the bag that I've got originally for them. This needs a repot. Well, it doesn't need a repot, it just needs to be neater. Okay, so first up on the list is a Syngonium Red Arrow, which has been repotted recently and is pushing out some new growth, but it's got some dead leaves on it, and some of the leaves, it's just not in it's not living its best life at the moment. So I'm going to take off all of the old leaves and basically clear them out and talk about working with plants for mental health as well. I've been working with plants since I was about 16. My first job was working in a garden centre, and I didn't realise how much I loved plants until I was a lot older, and I absolutely love working with plants, growing them. Eventually one day I'd like to have my own plant shop as well as a cafe. I'm not sure about the cafe side of things, and I'm not sure if I want to run it, but I'd like to have one, if that makes sense. So yeah, basically I'm going to take off all of the sad looking plants, put them into I'm chopping this off here. Working with plants has been proven to lower depression or basically boost dopamine. Working with soil, is an antidepressant as well. So it makes sense that I gravitated naturally towards working with plants, and it also makes me feel like I'm living in a greenhouse or in a garden, which makes me feel a lot better when everything's all hunky-dory. But when things are a little bit overwhelming, such as plants not looking their best and stuff like that, it can be really sad. So I'm getting rid of a few plants that don't bring me joy, and I'm going to give them away to other people who will do better with them. Then I'm going to get the plants on my wish list, which I know that will make me really, really happy, and I will be able to focus my intentions on growing those. This is one of the plants that I'm probably going to get rid of, but I'll take cuttings from it and grow the cuttings so that I've got cuttings for these plants that I'm going to get rid of. I'll still have the plants, but then I will have a lot less stress in regards to looking after the main mother plants and stuff like that. So these I've taken cuttings from, and I'm going to put in water, root them up, and then probably repot these back into this plant, make it look a bit thicker. That will take a little while, so we're coming into the growing season now, so that should be okay. So this plant looks a bit better after removing some of the dead leaves, so I'll hang that up in its original space. I haven't got a lot of space up here, which is also not ideal. The staghorn fern that I got from my mum is not growing really well. It got mealybug and I'm really sad about it, but hopefully it will pull through after the summer. I'm thinking it's just acclimating after I've sprayed it and everything like that. If it doesn't survive, I'm really sorry, Mum. So using semi-hydro, I've had really good experiences with semi-hydro, not only saving plants but also rerouting them as well as rooting cuttings. So I would definitely recommend it. I use the clay balls from Soil Ninja, and I'll put a link in the description box below. So I'm just going to fill that with water and pour this back into the bag. practice now after writing some notes out. I am so nervous for yoga teacher training. I just don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get through all of it, but I'm not focusing on the how. I just focus on a page a day at this point. There's a lot to learn, more to learn than I ever imagined. So I want to do it justice and I want to do it well. So I'm taking my time with it. And I'm not going to put my pressure on myself to finish it, to get everything done all at once, because that's not healthy in the learning phase or whatever I'm trying to say here. But yeah, time to do some yoga practice. I've been super nervous to film and write about all of this sort of stuff, so please bear with me and allow me to have the space that I need in order to heal. The whole reason I'm doing this is so that I can heal and share my process of healing and talk about the things that help me heal. And that's my intention with it, because for a while I said to myself, psychosis ruined my life, and I don't want to let that continue. So I want to say that psychosis changed my life instead and has made me more self-aware and more aware of my health needs, mentally, physically, soulfully, all of these things. And yeah, basically that's what my blog posts are. I'm trying to get my blog posts to articulate that. It's not a thing where I'm talking about it to just talk about it. It's a thing I'm talking about so that I can increase awareness of psychosis, because there's a lot of people who live with it on a daily basis, and I think it's important that people gain a fresh perspective of psychosis, or at least understand that not one size fits all in regards to psychosis. So I'm going to be learning a lot about it, my own personal experiences from other people's experiences, as well as various different ways in which to learn about it and heal it. There's books that I'm reading which I will share. I've got some audio books that I've got that I need to read and reread, and a few different other things as well. So in good time I'll be sharing all of these things with you, but for now I'm just going to try and finish this blog post. So wish me luck. blog post, but my battery on my laptop is dying, so I decided to water the plants instead. I'm gonna just chill for a little bit and write the blog post a little bit later once my laptop is charged. So I'm gonna finish this video here. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye!